Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another weekly recap. Now, today I think is going to go down as a historic day in old school RuneScape. We finally received a Grand Exchange tax, which is going to introduce one of the biggest gold sinks into the game, as well as an item sink alongside it. So today I'm going to be covering all of the information that we know so far regarding the item tax, as well as covering anything else in today's game update, because we also received some PvP changes, including some anti-sculling and anti-alluring changes. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, if you do, always appreciate a like on it. Let's get started. Alright, so let's jump right into it here. I am really excited. Okay, so we have discussed the tax a bit already, but there are a few minor changes from their proposal. But just to do a quick recap here, the Grand Exchange tax is going to be 1%. Now this will be levied against any sales in the GE, so if you're buying something, you won't be taxed. You will only be taxed 1% when you sell. When you sell multiple items, you're going to be taxed per item and not on the entire quantity. And pretty much every single item that can be sold on the Grand Exchange will be taxed. Now there are some exceptions here and a few boundaries for how high the tax can get. First up here, there is a capped tax at 5 million per transaction. That means any item over 500 million will still be taxed at 5 mil. So for example, if you sell a scythe, that is going to be taxed at 5 mil, but also if you sell a twisted bow, that will also be taxed at 5 mil. So realistically, once you get into the hyper expensive items, as you get closer to max cash, the tax rate will lower a bit. And on top of that, any items under 100 GP are going to be exempt from the tax, and that's mainly because that would create fractional GP, and that just sounds like way too difficult to deal with. So they've decided to exempt it, so really cheap items, no tax on that. And finally, they've also exempt a few beginner items like tools mainly. We have chisels, seed dippers, gardening trowels, glass blowing pipes. It is a nice thought for new players, and they've also exempt bonds as well because you already pay a tax on it that is much higher. So now let's have a quick look at the new interface and look at how the information is displayed and have a look at how the tax works in practice. Alright, so we've come over here and hopped into the Grand Exchange interface. Now for the most part, everything is the same. There are a few key differences here. Let's go ahead and try to buy and sell an item first. I'm kind of curious about this one, so we're going to go ahead and buy the Kraken Tentacle. We'll pop it in for a mil. First thing I notice here, this number is a bit bigger. Not sure if that's too related, but anyway, we'll go ahead and buy it. So we bought it for 700k each, no difference. Now that said, when we go to sell it, we will see a bit of a different interface. First up here, we can see the convenience fee, 1%. That will theoretically display for pretty much every item. So we can adjust the price we can sell this at. So let's just say we want to sell it for 600k. So our sell price is 600k. That said, we have to take a 1% fee or 1% tax. So then it displays 600k minus 1%, and it gives you the final value here. So if this sells successfully, you're going to get 594k. Now, more than likely, we're going to sell this for more than that, or okay, maybe we're not. Okay, well, that didn't work. Let's just do what we normally would do and lower it a bit more. We'll put it in for 500k. So theoretically, I should have gotten 495k for it. That said, it works the same way as the Grand Exchange always has. If there was a standing offer already in the Grand Exchange, you get priority, and they got to sell it for a higher price, so we got 559k, including the tax that was taken out. So overall, the information is fairly easy to see, and if we go back and look at our Grand Exchange history, you can see that the amount that is taxed is displayed separately. Now, once again, if we go ahead and try to buy, let's say, a Fire Rune, which is a very cheap item, no tax, and it doesn't display the 1% convenience fee here either. A few other items that are over 100 GP but shouldn't have a fee on them, that is a rake. So it displays there's no convenience fee, and if you click on this info box, it'll give you a bit more information about the Grand Exchange tax. Alright, so money is coming out of the Grand Exchange via a tax, but where is it going? Is King Raoul just jumping around in gold in his palace, doing nothing with it? Well, maybe. So obviously, a lot of the gold that is being taxed is straight up just going to be deleted from the game to help sink gold out of the economy and keep things more balanced. However, that's not it. Some of the gold that is removed from the game is going to be put into a virtual coffer, and with that coffer's money, certain items are going to be bought from the Grand Exchange and deleted by Jagex. Now, there are a few caveats to this. First, there's only a certain quantity of items that can be removed from the game every day in this manner. Once the threshold has been hit, no more items will be deleted that day. Now, assuming the quota hasn't been hit and there's enough money in the coffer, The system will immediately buy one of the following items off of the Grand Exchange. Now this list was made public a while ago. Now there are a few differences to it. Mainly the Scythe Divider is on here where before it wasn't. Also the Torn Prayer Scroll wasn't mentioned before, but that has been added. Not that anyone cares about that too much, but the main types of items on here are in-game PVM items that have been in the game for a while and don't have a meaningful item sync already. So we have pretty much all the God Wars armor, quite a few raids weapons, specifically raids 1 weapons, and a few other endgame PVM drops. Now this list probably will get expanded in the future, but for now they're trying to keep it simple so they can monitor it more easily. Now in today's game update, we also received an update to the trade menu. There's been a new security feature added that I believe is on by default. Essentially what it will do is the accept button will be grayed out for a few seconds after either player has changed the trade, taken items out, put items in, or changed it in any manner. The trade button will be grayed out for a few seconds to give you time to have a look, mainly to prevent players from getting scammed. Now you can turn this off if you're in the wilderness or doing some PVM bossing and you need to be able to trade quicker than that, so definitely a very helpful feature. Now beyond the Grand Exchange tax, there's also been a fairly large change to sculling and luring. Now a PK skull lasts for 20 minutes, however it was possible to get into a fight with someone with only a few seconds of the PK skull remaining. So if you fought someone and you only had 20 seconds left in your skull, it was actually possible to unskull within the fight and kind of trick your opponent into sculling by accident. So going forward after today, PK skulls will never wear off if you are currently in combat. Now on top of that, they've also attempted to address the issue with skull tricking. As of today, there is a new setting in the settings menu that is called PK Skull Prevention. Now essentially what this does is it allows you to still have your player attack options on to left click somebody, but you will only attack them if you won't get a PK skull. Previously, sure, you could turn your player attack options off, but you're kind of at a disadvantage if you got attacked and wanted to fight back. Now hopefully with the setting enabled, that will prevent any accidental scullings. Now that said, I feel like there might be some kinks to iron out here. Who knows, maybe not, but there's just a lot of different ways that players get skull tricked that I personally wouldn't still bring a twisted bow into the wilderness for a while yet. Now on top of that, they've actually added in additional safe areas in PvP worlds to help combat luring. For example, the Abatol Bank, the Barbarian Outpost, the Duel Arena entrance, the Blast Mine, Fossil Island, Soul Wars, the Kren Castle, the Volcanic Mine, and the Xerix Glade. Now will this prevent all luring? No, there'll probably be other methods discovered, but that still does knock out quite a lot of the popular spots. So personally, for myself, I will probably have that setting on most of the time, and I'm pretty happy to finally have that option. Also, another important change here, right at the bottom, the looting bag is now able to be used in the Ferox Enclave, which means you don't have to walk out to put things in your looting bag anymore. So the Ferox Enclave is in the wilderness, so of course you can now use it there. So the PvP changes today were more so to prevent unintended mechanics, which might help some people feel more safe going into the wilderness, which could be a win-win for everyone. Okay, so there were a few smaller changes this week as well. Now, as detailed in the last blog, the Hallowed Sepulchre high scores are going to be reset due to rampant bug abuse there, having someone literally one tick one of the floors, so obviously that wasn't right, so they have now reset that. Now they have also added in a few additional options for the invert run mode. Now, this is a feature I'm not even sure that many people know about. Essentially, you can hold the control button to invert your walk or run selection. So if you held control and clicked, you do the opposite of your current selection. So if you're running and control click, you'd start walking and vice versa. But now they have a few other selections you can choose from to make it a little bit more customizable, and that will be very nice for certain bosses and other niche pieces of content. Now, of course, there are a ton of small bug fixes and quality of life changes as always, but that is it for most of the important changes. So anyway, guys, that is going to be it for today's weekly recap. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to be trying some flipping with the new tax, which I'm really interested to see how that goes. And I think we may have another investing video coming out soon, so there'll be quite a bit of content regarding this update that will come this week or next week. Hope you guys look forward to that. Thanks for watching as always, guys, and I will see you next time. Now, before I go here, I want to give a giant thank you to all of my members over on YouTube. Thank you so much to Alejandra, Sejuani's Flail, Ocelot, and Kush Patel for all being subscribed at the Dragon tier. Thank you so much as always, guys. Also a giant thank you to Sir Rojas, Ryan Shady, Mexos, Base Titch, NDM001, and Yo-Yo Sub 89 for all being subscribed at the Runite tier. Appreciate it, guys. As always, if you are looking for another way to support the channel, becoming a YouTube member is a great way to support me directly. You'll get immortalized in all of my future videos, get a custom role in my Discord server, and you get access to my video release schedule as well. Thanks again, and I will see you next time.